was today? First day of pads, just how it camp go so far?
First day of pads is always an intense day, at every position. Everybody, the whole goal when you put pads on is staying with the fundamentals and the technique when the juice and the energy really starts getting elevated. If you're not careful, you can start forgetting some of the ABCs, trying to work to the DEFs, and so that's every year it's the same way. Everybody's really excited, but you got to stay extremely disciplined when the emotions get high on days like today, because everybody's ready to show what they can do and to show all the gains that they've made in strength and speed. You put the pads on.
Yeah. How was the 11-11 towards the end of practice there?
Well, it's, intense. Every time you get 22 guys on the field, and they've been going against each other now. This is the third day we've done it. The intensity's ramped up. Everybody's trying to show what they can do, earn a spot, right? I mean, the depth chart is not completely set by any means at this point, especially in my world. But, everybody's trying to show what they can do, So you normally don't have to tell them to kick up the intensity on day one of pads when you go, 11 on 11. So
you guys have special teams, have a lot of work to do in the offseason. How's that coming together?
Yeah, just overall in special teams, we had to replace some spots, which is typical. I'm kind of used to that. When you have good players, they move on, and get other opportunities at the next level. And you got to find the next guy, and you got to be able to replace them, So really that's a process that started in the spring. And then when you get some new guys over the summer, you plug them in. But, with the specialist, Sawyer's coming back, and he really has to he's got to get a year better. He's the same guy, but just because you had success one year does not guarantee success the next. And many times, if you're not conscientious of that, you can start to drift and plateau out. So he's got to really do a good job there. Our long snappers, are both new. Neither one of them started when J.P. Hadley's graduated and moved on. So we got to get those two guys ready to rock and roll. And then our kickers, we got a three-way kicking battle going on right now. We got Blake Ford, who's done a great job. He's got a really strong leg. Callie Nguma's returning. He's got a year under his belt. He's a year better, and a Miguel Arenas, a true freshman coming in. He's extremely talented as well. So,
yeah, you had a real difference maker at kicker last year with Noah Rauschenberg. How confident are you guys with the players you're replacing? Yeah,
Noah was extremely talented, but that's just part of life in the football world. Is you lose these great players, and Noah did a lot for us last year, and he was extremely valuable. Anytime you replace a guy like that, I don't like to say that you're going to necessarily, it's not apples and apples. You're bringing some new guys in. They're going to bring different things to the table. And, so that's always exciting when you do get an opportunity to replace somebody that was extremely successful. I think a competitive guy, we've got three of them, they're taking it up for the challenge, to be able to step in and say, hey, listen, like you guys have to have, as a football team, got to have confidence in me as a kicker. Yeah, the guy we had last year was really good, but he's not here anymore. It's our opportunity, and every time that they line up and kick the ball, they got to show, really, or they got to have success so they can give that opponent or give that football team some confidence that, hey, he's not here anymore, but you got me now, and I'm good enough,
How has it been replacing Kalen Horton as well on the returning side?
Yeah, he was extremely dynamic. Having him, he could hit that seam in a hurry. We got a bunch of guys right now that are fighting for that primary kick returner spot. We've got about 5 or 6 guys from really multiple different positions. We got some defensive backs, like Zoe Thompson. He's getting a look. We got some running backs back there. We got some slot receivers. DT Sheffield getting a chance. Mackenzie McGill's getting reps back there. The new kid Harris. We got a lot of guys. That's a position that you can be a defensive back, a running back, a wide receiver. You just got to have a guy that's got a knack for it, and we're still working through that right now.
Yeah, at Rice, you kind of talked about the importance of depth and special teams, especially with these 74 players that are coming to the program. How do you evaluate the depth so far in fall camp?
Yeah, in fall camp, you do as many drills as you can. That's my philosophy. I'm going to do as many drills, individual work as we can do, building up to group, then building up to 11 on 11. And it's just a constant evaluation. We've got a folder. We put each individual reps in, and you really refer back to that drill work, to start establishing what guys are going to fit where, because there's so many different options on special teams. Is this going to be a defensive end? Is it going to be a tight end? But we do rank them according to body types. So we categorize them into different body types. The receivers and DBs and some of the maybe more slender running backs are in body type 1. Body type 2 is a little bit bigger. Linebacker, tight end, athletic defensive end. So they can all kind of do the same thing. Body type 3. So we formulate it that way, and that way it kind of gives you a pool, and it gives you a place to at least start. What am I looking for? What's the skill set? And then obviously, do they have ball skills? Do they not have ball skills? How well do they process? Because special teams can be very abstract. to these guys. Not everybody grows up waiting to be the right guard on the punt team, right? Or waiting to be the field tackle on the kick return team. They don't necessarily get those mental reps when they're growing up. So a lot of that stuff's put on them once they get to college. So they got to be able to process and connect concepts really fast. That's the key with special teams. You see it in the NFL. You saw it last night. There's a reason that when those guys are kicking off, they're not kicking touchbacks in preseason. Okay? They want to see reps, reps, reps. They want the ball returned. They want to be able to – that's how you decide, a lot of the guys at a lot of levels now, who's going to make the team, who's traveling. It's going to be on special teams. You got your starters on offense and defense. Well, who else are we bringing on the plane with us? Okay? What is their special teams value? That's how you start determining it, just like in the NFL. Who are we cutting? Who are we keeping? They ask the special teams coordinator, is this guy going to play for you on teams? If he is, we might keep him. If he's not, we're going to cut him. Okay? So, I mean, it's got a lot of value.
You also have tight ends. How's that group looking as you go into the season?
Man, the tight ends, we got 6 of them, and they're extremely competitive. If they walked in this door right now, they all look different, which is really what the tight ends are. They're the Swiss Army knife of the offense, right? They got to know the route, the run game, and the blocking schemes. They got to be able to line up wide and play wide receiver at times. They got to know all the motions, the shifts. They're really hybrid players, so they look a little bit different, okay? And they got to be extremely intelligent to understand what we're doing. It's a really, really good group right now. We've got Oscar Hammond, who had a great spring, and he's continuing to grow as a player. Xavier Katow is doing a great job as well. He's got a lot of repetitions under his belt from last year. He played a lot of football for us last year, so he's extremely dependable. We got Vic, an incoming freshman that just showed up in June that's really, really coming along. We got B.J. Young, who's big and long, continuing to learn the nuances of the game. He's got great hands and great ball skills. And then we got Darson Herman, and Luke Carter. Those 2 guys are doing a great job as well. They're both smart football players. They do a great job. So these tight ends, as a group, we're really, really fired up about all the opportunity that they're going to bring to this football team.
You mentioned Oscar Hammond. How do you think his impact on this team this year will help you, especially in the offense that y'all kind of run?
Yeah, anytime you have a tight end who has the ability to run routes, and has the speed, the top end speed that is similar to a wide receiver, where you don't have to take those guys off the field, but you can keep him in the game and be able to do all the run scheme with him as well. So the defense has to really defend the entire playbook when you have a tight end on the field. They can't compartmentalize your plays based off personnel, right? Because they're always looking for who's telling the story, what guys are on the field. If that tight end is versatile enough to be able to play outside, to play inside, the whole playbook's open. And that's what Oscar, that's the ability he has, and he's going to really be able to add a lot of versatility to the offense, which gives the play caller, it takes the handcuffs off him. It makes the defense have to, hey, we got to defend every single play in these guys' offense, because they can do it with number 23 on the field, or whether he's in the core, whether he's out there. We got to find where those guys are lined up.
Yeah, Coach mentioned that you're going to try to flex him out a little bit this year, use him in different ways. Is that something you guys are really going to try to emphasize this year, to move him around a little bit?
Absolutely. We want to make it as difficult on the opponent as possible, and that kind of goes back to, and you can't do that with all the tight ends. I mean, it takes a special tight end to be able to flex him out. The good ones that play for a long time in pro football, are they necessarily as fast as the receivers, as quick as the receivers? Not necessarily, okay, even though a lot of them can run, is the big body, the big catch radius, okay, the nuance and the savviness of how to run the routes, because you're defended different. If a safety's on a tight end, a lot of the time they're not backing up at the same pace they would if they were covering a receiver that ran a 4.40. Okay, so you got to be able to work within that and understand the details of running routes and how to get open. There's a little bit more savviness involved than just relying on pure athletic ability. But flexing him out and being able to get some mismatches, big body out there, he's 6'3", he's 240 pounds. We're excited about that, and that's why having a good tight end is so valuable in any offense.
Well, plus he's got just a ton of experience. Now, granted, he came on the Division II level, but has that experience and skill set translated as he moves up to the division?
100%. Football's football, and the reps that he's got. I mean, he's been a college football player for 2 full years. He's probably played 20-something football games already at this point. And coming out of high school, he was a defensive back and a receiver. So he's got a great understanding of coverages, routes from a wide receiver and a defensive back standpoint. He went to college the first 2 years, really developed physically as a football player, learning the tight end game in and out of the core. And so when he comes here, it's still football and a lot of similar plays. Obviously, the players are a little bigger, faster, and stronger at this level, but he's done a great job adapting himself physically to the task at hand.
Coach, you brought in DT Sheffield in the offseason. These guys had some experience in the punt return game before at JUCO. What have you seen from him, and How impactful do you think he'll be this year?
Extremely dynamic. Extremely dynamic. You know, he's got really good skills returning punts. You know, he's going to bring an opportunity for us. Our whole goal every time that we catch a punt, we want to gain a first down for the offense. If we can get a 10-yard return, that's a big deal. And a lot of the time, just the juice that you bring to your football team and to your sideline on a punt return, make a couple guys miss, it gets everybody juiced up. Boom, they get on the field, everybody's feeling good. And we really love his. I mean, he's got great ball skills. He judges the ball. He gets to the spot. But, you know, he's going to be a lot to handle in the open field. So we're extremely excited to have him part of this special teams unit, absolutely, as a punt returner.
Speaking on your kickoff, Coach, you know, last year you guys had the nation's best kickoff coverage, you know, allowing 11.4 yards per return. What kind of players you're looking for your special teams, and what do you think you're doing differently to separate from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, the biggest thing on kickoff, this is what you look for in a player, somebody who's going to be relentless, okay, full speed. They can't be scared of loud noises, okay? That's a violent play. Okay, get down the field, understand the fits. We've got a special system that we teach on our kickoff unit. They got to understand the alignment, the assignment, and recognize the return, but they got to fit the blocks up right, and they got to do it full speed. They got to be a master of making full speed decisions. If they think, if there's too much processing, okay, even if they're an aggressive, fast football player, it's hard to put them on the kickoff team, okay, because they got to recognize blocks, they got to play the blocks, they got to fit it up, they got to be relentless. You know, and we're not lowering the standard. That's what we believe in on kickoff. And, yeah, we had a good year last year, but the problem is that was last year, and a lot of those players aren't here anymore, including the kicker, right? So we got to step that game up. Big challenge to these guys this year.
You mentioned yesterday with the NFL's new dynamic kickoff, you know, just what are your thoughts of the possibility of it, you know, coming to the college level?
Yeah, I think any time the NFL changes new rules, especially when they put it in play for 1 year, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. Okay, if they get the desired result that they're looking for and it becomes a thing, then a lot of the time those things do trickle down to our level. I do love the fact they've kept the kickoff in the game because that was kind of the alternative, right? But I watched it last night for the first time. It's interesting, you know. There's going to be a lot more strategy involved once the season starts. Like I said, right now I think those guys are just trying to evaluate players. But I think you're going to start seeing some interesting variables to it. And like I said, a lot of those guys are still going to kind of figure their way through it on how they want to do it. I've talked to a lot of those guys and heard about 3 different philosophies. So we'll see how that thing pans out. But just about any rule, if they're getting the desired result at the highest level, a lot of the time those things trickle down to us if applicable. So we'll adapt and adjust like we do with every other rule, right? We're trying to keep the kicking game in the game, number one. So if we got to adapt and adjust to make the game a little bit safer, we're going to do that.
So with the 3 kickers you got, is this just an open competition at this point, or do you have anybody that's kind of taking control of it?
It's still open in the fall. It's still open in the fall. You know, every day kind of teeters a little bit. But, you know, Blake had a great spring. You know, he had a great spring, but and he's got a powerful kickoff leg. So those are really 2 different scenarios. Our kickoff situation, Blake is our guy right now. The field goal situation, those guys are still battling it out, and they're going to battle it out all the way until the end of fall camp. So kind of, even though it's both kicking, it's 2 different worlds. That kickoff versus that field goal right now for what we've got, you know, is a little bit different situation. But if we're going to kick the ball off right now, Blake Ford's our guy, and he's got a big cannon for a leg. So I'm excited to watch him play next year.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Coach.
Yep, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, Lance, so we're a little bit into fall practice here. How's it going for you?
It's going great, you know, getting back from injury from the spring, and, you know, everybody here, they've helped me through a lot, helped me get back quicker than expected. You know, we didn't really know for sure if I was going to be here for the start of fall camp, but got released and quicker than expected. You know, still taking it kind of easy, not doing too much crazy stuff, but just trying to get back into it, get ready for UAB.
Yeah,
or not
so
UAB, South Alabama, sorry.
How is the knee anyway?
It's great. It feels back 100%. Feels good. I mean, I really don't notice a difference. The only difference is really just the brace, but they said hopefully first game I won't have that.
So what happened to help you?
First day of spring ball, just went out there, just ran a route and just tweaked it a little bit. Didn't know what it was, kept going for a couple of days, started hurting a little worse, and then kind of find out I had a little tear in my meniscus, but it was fine, went, got surgery on it, it was all good, and come back good now.
What are your thoughts about today? First day of pads, a little 11-11 again practice there.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a lot more intense. You know, defense, when they came out freaking swing, and they came out just ready to hit, and we started a little slow, but I feel like get back used to the pads offensively, and we'll come out, start upping the intensity a lot more.
What are some changes that you've seen from your first fall camp last year going into this one for yourself? Just
at least knowing what's coming, knowing it's going to be pretty difficult, but still going through it. And I mean, the intensity and the hardness of it really hasn't changed, but just like I said, last year I didn't really know what was happening, what was going on and everything, but now I got a little feel for it, and now I know what's coming, what's to be expected.
You had a great first year here, which was kind of unexpected when you came here. Everybody, they were talking about redshirting you, and you ended up playing such a key role. How did that year progress for you, and how did you feel you did?
I just did everything I could every day to, show them what I had, and then finally they started giving me little opportunities, started building off those opportunities, and then after that it just worked out, started, and then just kept building off those opportunities.
Were you surprised you got that much run last year?
Oh yeah, I was surprised, but I was glad they knew what I had, because I knew deep down that I could definitely play that year, and then they trusted me and showed them that for sure I could play.
Well, you came on kind of late in the year. It started a little slow, and as the games went by, you got a larger and larger role. Did you just get more comfortable with what was going on and get a feel for the Division I level?
100%. Coming in was a little tense. First couple weeks, little, like, oh geez, like I'm a freshman, like these dudes are all grown up. But then finally started making plays and started getting a whole lot more comfortable, knowing that I could come out here and play with everybody.
When you had that great last game against UAB to finish out the season, did that give you a lot of momentum going into the offseason and the season this year?
For sure. I feel like it gave me a lot of momentum. It gave me confidence knowing that, like I said, I can come out here and I can play with these guys and just keep working towards the ultimate goal, freaking go and win a conference title.
Was there a point the light came on for you who thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to be able to play at this level and be successful?
Oh yeah, definitely. After that, after my first catch in La Tech, just all I did was run a little, 2-yard drag. But, after that first catch, I was kind of like, all right. Started gaining more confidence. I was like, I can play. It's definitely a lot faster. Tempo's a lot faster, but I knew I could go out there and do it for sure.
Going to be working with the new quarterback this year at Morris. I mean, what have you seen from him, and how has he grown as far as being a leader for this team?
Oh yeah, 100%. He's one of the best freaking quarterbacks I've played with. He's so good. He puts the ball in a catchable spot every time, and he just throws such a great ball. And then, like you said, leadership role, he's really stepped up. Coming in, his little, new spot, I get it 100%. But then finally, I think he realized that we're all looking up to him, and he's going to be our quarterback. So yeah.
Your position group has seen a lot of change this offseason. How do you feel like those guys have adjusted to this system so far?
Oh yeah, coming in with a lot of new guys, it's kind of like me coming in last year. Like you don't really know until you get here. But then I feel like for sure they've definitely looked up to really Damon Ward. He's really the guy all the receivers look up to. He's a great guy. He's the leader in the receiving room, and he just shows us through his actions and everything what to do. And I really think they've taken a liking to him for sure and look up to him.
Landon, are there any transfers or freshmen in the wide receiver room that kind of impressed you so far?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Wyatt, I feel like he's impressed a lot. He's been making some plays out here, been getting some reps for sure at the slot position, and I feel like he's going to be a good player for sure.
What has been your advice to these freshmen? Someone who last year was coming in, not sure what his role would be, and just making an immediate impact as a true freshman.
I just like I said, just show them that you can play. Come out here every day, freaking work your tail off, and just show them that you're here for a reason and that they recruited you for a reason. Show them that you could do the same stuff you did in high school.
Absolutely. And then reflecting on last year, does it feel a little storybook being the hometown kid from Denton Guyer, here at UNT, and having that role?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a really good feeling. Like I said, I'm like 10, 15 minutes down the road to my house. So, like when I was up here and I needed some clothes or something, my mom would always come up, bring me some clothes. Or if I was hungry, mom would make me home cooked food. Like it's definitely a surreal feeling for sure. Being here though, and like I said, playing high school here and then coming to the college, it's definitely a good feeling.
Is that something you're going to be able to to sell to the next generation of Denton athletes?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm already at Geyer talking to a lot of the guys. Like I'm telling you, it's its own, like, I get you might want to move off, but I'm telling you it's its own place. It's a great spot, but you're also close enough to home that it's like whatever you need is there for sure. I always try to talk to him and tell him that it's not a bad thing.
And Landon, how do you see your role kind of on the team evolving this year?
I mean, I'm just trying to step up and be a leader, be more vocal, trying to show people that, like I said, showed them I could play last year. So I feel like I said, I need to step up and be more of a, vocal leader and just show everybody really what to do.
Heading into that second year, now that teams have some tape on you, what are some areas that you're trying to work on during these games?
Really main areas, like I said, just trying to get back into it, trying to get back in everything, getting back comfortable with it all. But definitely more the mental side of the game. Definitely like watching more film, getting in there with Coach Davis a lot more, looking at schemes, looking at players, just really diving deeper into the film part of it.
Yeah, looking back on your recruiting journey, following Eric Morris from McCartan Ward to UNC now, how do you feel like that decision has just paid off?
Oh yeah, it's paid off great because, like I said, the whole time he's been there recruiting me and everything and been talking to me. So I feel like it's definitely a better connection than I had with any other coach for sure.
Cool. Thank you, Landon. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Landon. All right, Oscar, well, you guys are a little bit into fall practice here, so how's it going so far?
Everything's going good. Starting to roll. First day of pads went good. Everything's clicking as often, so everything's pretty good.
Yeah, coming off such a great spring, it seemed like you really settled in there. How's that carried over to the fall as you get ready for the season?
Still just using the same preparation and just continuing to work hard and everything from the spring, just trying to transfer it over and keep learning.
Yeah, Coach Morris has talked a little bit about how they want to use you in a variety of ways this year, flexing you out, using you in the box there. Have you kind of seen your role develop a little bit over the course of since spring began to now?
Oh, yes, sir. I like how he's been using me, moving me around like you said, and I feel like I'm flowing pretty good in the offense and using me in a pretty good way so far. So. You
feel like you'd be a good fit as a tight end that flexes out a little bit, create some mismatches that way?
Yes, sir, for sure.
How's your connection been with Chandler Morris so far?
It's been pretty good. He's throwing really good, throwing the ball around really good. All the quarterbacks are throwing pretty good as well, but Chandler, he's really slinging it. It's really pretty when I see that ball coming from him. So.
Absolutely.
Good.
How has it been working with Coach Svoboda this year and thoughts on the tight end room as a whole?
Working with Coach Svoboda has been really good. He's taught us all a lot. He's a really good coach. He really breaks it down for us and helps us grow, even as like person outside of the football area as well. Tight end rooms, everyone's doing good. Everyone's locked in. We're all focused, coming together. We're really close too as a group, and I think that's really helping us all out.
Yeah, how do you feel about the offensive scheme and your role within it this year?
I think the scheme's going great. I mean, just going to keep on rolling, and I feel like my role would just be an addition to the team, and just going to try to help out as much as I can and do what I can do.
There's been a lot of talk about how Chandler Morris has kind of stepped into a leadership role and helped some young players adjust to being here, even though he's fairly new. How have you seen him just take a command of this team?
Oh yeah, he's stepping up as a leader every day. I mean, I hear his voice out there, getting the team along, getting everyone together, like keeping the energy high. So yeah, I notice it all the time. I mean, he's doing really good coming in here from in the spring or after the spring and in the summer. He's been working hard and everything's going good. So.
What's a goal you kind of set for yourself going into your first full year at a Division I school?
Goal for myself?
Yeah.
Man, I just want to win conference, man. I don't self goals. I need to think about that a little bit more, but just continue to work hard, man, and just keep putting the work in every day, and just keep taking these long strides and getting better and better. So.
What have been the biggest lessons that you've taken from your time at Central Oklahoma and bringing them here?
Just don't take things for granted. Like enjoy the little things, man. Like. It's going by really quickly. I mean, I'm just going to be a junior, but just taking the time with it, really soaking everything in and just realizing what I have right now and just like putting everything into perspective and just.
Are you surprised with how easy the transition from Division II has gone for you?
I don't know if I'd be surprised. It's just I just kind of took it like a grain of salt or whatever. Just continue to do the same thing, preparation, just stay like humble and keeping my eye on like the main targets.
It seems like you had a lot of confidence that your skills would translate when you came here. Was that the case?
Yes, sir. You gotta have confidence. Can't be down on myself. So yes, sir. try to make sure I had confidence every day. Just tell myself I'm gonna do it great, and just be good. So.
What led to the decision to try to jump into the portal and maybe move up to Division I level?
Just wanted to play better football all around. I feel like I had a good year at UCO, and I'm very grateful for all the things they've done for me as well. And I just felt like I could take my opportunities to a better level, better competition, and just play ball at the better level. So.
You ever think about how far you've come from, what was it, Collinsville?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it seems like a pretty small place in Oklahoma, and now you're all the way up to the Division I level in North Texas. You ever stop to think about how far you've come over the course of the last couple of years?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's always going to be a grind. I mean, it's how it is for everyone. Everyone has a story, So, yeah, just tell myself, gotta stay humble and keep grinding,
What are the biggest areas of your game that you've been working on during this camp process?
I feel like just blocking and just keeping my pad level low and just being really physical off the line and just continuing to run crisp routes and catching the ball with like one time, looking it in, all that kind of stuff.
Have there been any standout players on the offense so far that you've noticed?
I mean, I think offense is rolling right now. Quarterback Chandler, he's doing great. Running back's looking really good. O-line, tight ends, receivers, everyone's looking good to me. I don't have any specific players, but I think our offense is looking really good. Like coming together as a team and all the team sections we've been doing, looks pretty good.
Cool, thanks.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.